says to me, "Not even you can screw this up tomorrow." That was not "Goodbye, Greg, good luck tomorrow." He says that comment. I go,
I would tell a guy, Jack Nicklaus instilled in me when I asked him some tips when I first got on tour. He said, "Mark, I hope you play great." I played with him in the last round at Doral in 1985 when I was lucky enough to win.
Mark McCumber once said about these 5 players, "I never respected him. Not just disliked, not just disagreed with, hated. 5 players who made his blood boil." But here's the twist. This is not about petty grudges or locker room drama. This is about something way bigger. McCumber is not some random angry guy. He is a guardian, a defender of what golf is supposed to be. If golf is the game where you call penalties on yourself, what happens when big names bend the rules, bend the story, or bend the whole sport? McCumber saw it happening, and he said no. By the end of this, you will understand why his harsh words are not attacks. They are a defense of the game itself. So who is Mark McCumber? 10-time PGA Tour winner, Players Champion, golf course architect. But more than that, he is a standards guy. He believes in something called the infallible test. It comes from a famous quote: "Golf is the infallible test." The man who can go into a patch of rough alone with the knowledge that only God is watching him and play his ball where it lies is the man who will serve you faithfully and well. That is McCumber's religion: honesty, authenticity, stewardship. 3 pillars. When someone violates those pillars, he does not just shake his head. He goes to war. Also, if you like these deep golf stories, tap the hype feature and give this video some hype so more golfers see it. Now let us get into the 5 players. We are starting with the modern era, then flashing back to where it all began. Player number 1, Patrick Reed. McCumber does not just dislike Reed, he is disgusted by him. Why? Because Reed represents the death of accountability in the video age. In 2019 at the Hero World Challenge, cameras caught Reed improving his lie in a waist area, multiple practice swings, brushing sand away, clear as day on high-definition video, but Reed said he did not feel it. He said he did not intend to break the rule. That word, intent, it became his shield, and McCumber hated that. This is where the Reed situation connects back to the Norman incident from 1995. When Greg Norman reignited the feud years later on his radio show, he linked McCumber to Patrick Reed. He was basically saying, "See, I was right about McCumber back then, and Reed proves that cheating happens." For McCumber, that connection stung, because he knew he was innocent in 1995, but Reed made it harder to defend that innocence. For McCumber, golf is supposed to be black and white. You either broke the rule or you did not. The video showed Reed sweeping sand. That is the rule broken, but Reed hid behind intent. Nobody who watched that video thinks he did not intend to do what he did. That is what people said at the time, strictly implying that he is a liar. McCumber comes from an era where if you got caught, you owned it. You did not spin a story. You did not gaslight the camera. You accepted the penalty and moved on. But here's the positive angle. McCumber's anger is not just moral outrage. It is about protecting the rest of the field. In golf, every illegal stroke is money stolen from another player's pocket. If you gain an edge by cheating, someone else loses a paycheck. Someone else drops a spot on the leaderboard. McCumber won the Tour Championship in 1994 by grinding. He fought for every dollar. He knows what it means when the game is not fair. His harsh words about Reed are not hate for hate's sake. They are a defense of meritocracy. If we let players hide behind intent when the video is crystal clear, the whole system collapses. The infallible test becomes a joke. Player number 2, the LIV golfers. This one is not about a single person. It is about a movement, and it hits every nerve McCumber has. LIV Golf took some of the biggest names in the sport and gave them guaranteed money. No cuts, 54 holes instead of 72. Massive appearance fees. To McCumber, this is not just a business decision. It is a betrayal of what makes golf golf. And here is the kicker. Some of his other targets ended up on LIV too. Greg Norman became the face of it. Phil Mickelson was one of the first big names to jump. Patrick Reed joined the league. It is like all of McCumber's frustrations merged into one place. One league that represented everything he spent his career fighting against. The PGA Tour is a meritocracy. You eat what you kill. Miss the cut. Make $0. That pressure creates the test. It forces you to perform when your mortgage depends on it. It builds character. It separates the tough from the soft. LIV removed that. Guaranteed contracts mean you get paid whether you play well or not. The fear of failure is gone. And without that fear, McCumber believes the test is no longer infallible. It is simulated. It is fake. Then there is the format. 72 holes is a marathon. It tests your endurance, your focus, your ability to recover from a bad day. Sunday back at 9 pressure is the hallmark of golf history, but LIV plays 54 holes. It is a sprint. You do not get that fourth round grind. You do not get that Sunday drama in the same way. To a traditionalist like McCumber, this is a mutilation of the game's rhythm. But again, the positive angle. McCumber is not just complaining, he is protecting something. The PGA Tour has raised millions for charity over 50 years. It has given back to communities. It has created opportunities for young players. It has been a civic institution, not just a sports league. McCumber played in events that helped local families. That meant something to him. When players left for Saudi money, it was not about survival. PGA Tour players were already wealthy. It was about greed, and McCumber hates that. He is fighting for the idea that a professional athlete has a responsibility to the ecosystem that made them rich. He is defending stewardship, one of his 3 pillars. Now let us flash back, because to understand why McCumber is this way, you need to know where it started. August 24th, 1995, Firestone Country Club, Akron, Ohio. The par 3 7th hole. Mark McCumber is paired with Greg Norman, and the world is about to explode. Norman was the #1 player in the world, the Shark, a global superstar. McCumber was ranked around number 13 at his peak, a grinder, a respected journeyman. On that 7th hole, something happened. McCumber was facing a long putt for par. Norman was watching from 12 to 15 feet away, and Norman claimed he saw McCumber pluck a blade of grass from the green and smooth the turf with his thumb. That is a rules violation. Rule 16-1A said you cannot touch the line of your putt except to remove loose impediments like bugs or leaves, or to repair ball marks. Pressing down a spike mark or smoothing grass was a penalty. Norman saw what he saw, or thought he did. He accused McCumber of cheating, but McCumber had a different story. He said he removed a bug from his line. A bug, not grass. From Norman's distance, a small insect could look like a piece of grass. The motion to flick a bug away could look like pressing down turf. This is where it gets nuclear. Norman did not just question McCumber. He refused to sign his scorecard. In professional golf, the scorecard is a legal document. By refusing to sign, Norman was trying to disqualify McCumber from the tournament. That is not a disagreement. That is a declaration of war. McCumber stood his ground. He insisted he did nothing wrong. The officials ruled in his favor. There was no definitive proof, just Norman's word against McCumber's. And in golf, the benefit of the doubt goes to the player. Think about the power dynamic here. Norman was world #1. He had 15 plus tour wins at that point, 2 major championships. McCumber was peaked at number 13. He had 10 wins but no majors. This was David versus Goliath, the Shark versus the Grinder, and McCumber refused to back down. Here is the positive angle. McCumber was defending the presumption of innocence. If Norman's accusation had been accepted without proof, it would have set a terrible precedent. The most powerful player on tour could just accuse someone and get them thrown out. That is not justice. That is tyranny. McCumber was protecting the right of the player to be the final arbiter of their own intent when there is no video, no clear evidence. He was protecting self-policing from turning into a star-driven popularity contest. Norman later said on his radio show, "I have always been at the forefront of protecting the game. I do not care what it is. I will always stand on the forefront of protecting the game first." But McCumber was also protecting the game. He was protecting it from becoming a place where the word of the famous outweighs the word of the worker. That is integrity. That is why the 1995 incident matters. It clarified the rules. It forced the tour to confront the limits of peer review, and it showed that McCumber would not back down, even against the biggest shark in the ocean. Player number 3, Phil Mickelson. This one is different. McCumber does not think Phil is a cheater. He thinks Phil is reckless. And in some ways, that is worse, because Phil has all the talent in the world, and he wastes it. McCumber is a golf course architect. He designs holes with specific solutions in mind. Safe routes for pairs, risky routes for birdies. He values strategy. He values thinking. Phil Mickelson is the anti-architect. He looks at a hole design and chooses the option the architect tried to discourage. He bombs it over trees. He flops it from impossible lies. He gambles when he should play safe, and sometimes it works, but sometimes it costs him majors. The 2018 US Open is a perfect example. Phil hit a moving ball on purpose. It was rolling off the green, and instead of letting it go, he whacked it while it was still moving. That is a 2-stroke penalty. But more than that, it was a moment of frustration boiling over. It was Phil saying, "I do not care about the rules right now. I am mad." And McCumber hates that. Because golf is supposed to be the game where you keep your composure even when things go wrong. But here is the positive spin. McCumber respects Phil. He acknowledges Phil's brilliance and imagination. What he hates is the waste of genius. He hates that someone with Phil's talent did not always think his way around a course. He holds Phil to a higher standard because he knows what Phil is capable of. This is not random hate. This is disappointment from someone who believes in the mental side of golf. McCumber won his biggest titles by dissecting courses, by playing chess, not checkers. and he wants Phil to do the same. He is defending the idea that thinking is as important as swinging. When McCumber played in the 1989 Ryder Cup, he understood what that event meant. It was about national pride, about team over self. So when Phil showed up to later Ryder Cups out of form or unprepared, McCumber saw it as disrespect to the tradition. Player number 4, David Duval. This one is sad, because McCumber does not hate Duval the person. He hates what happened to him, and he hates the system that caused it. David Duval was number 1 in the world. He had a weird swing, strong grip, lifting heel, massive head rotation. It was ugly by textbook standards, but it worked. He shot 59, he won majors, he was dominant. Then he tried to fix it. Coaches told him his swing was flawed. They said he needed to look more like Tiger Woods, more neutral grip, more upright finish, more conventional. So Duval changed, and he fell apart. McCumber watched this happen in real time, and it broke his heart, because to him this was not just about one player, it was about a disease in golf instruction. Style-based teaching, the idea that every swing should look a certain way, the idea that there is a model swing and everyone must fit into it. McCumber and others like Bobby Clampett argue for impact-based instruction instead. It does not matter what your swing looks like. It matters what the ball does. If you can hit it straight and far with an ugly swing, the swing is not ugly. The textbook is wrong. The positive angle here is powerful. McCumber is fighting for individuality. He is fighting for the next generation of golfers. His message is simple. Do not try to be Tiger. Be yourself. If your natural swing works, do not let someone destroy it in the name of looking pretty. Golf history is full of weird swings. Arnold Palmer, Lee Trevino, Jim Furyk. They did not fit the mold and they won anyway. McCumber is defending biodiversity in golf. He is defending authenticity, one of his 3 pillars. The Duval tragedy teaches a crucial lesson. Sometimes the best thing you can do is trust yourself. Trust what got you there. Do not let the experts talk you out of what works just because it does not look like the magazine cover swing. Player number 5. Back to where we started. Greg Norman. But not just the 1995 incident. The whole attitude, the arrogance, the power games. Norman became the face of LIV Golf later in his career. He recruited players. He sold them on guaranteed money. He positioned himself as a revolutionary. But to McCumber, Norman has always been the same. A guy who uses his power to bend the game to his will. Whether it was trying to disqualify McCumber in 1995 or trying to blow up the tour system in 2022, Norman represents something McCumber cannot stand. The idea that the biggest star should make the rules. So what does all this mean? Why does McCumber hate these 5 players so much? Because they each represent a threat to the infallible test. Patrick Reed threatens honesty by hiding behind intent when the cameras show the truth. The LIV golfers threaten stewardship by choosing money over the meritocracy that built the game. Greg Norman threatens fairness and self-policing by using star power to be judge and jury. Phil Mickelson threatens discipline and respect for the game by letting talent override smart decisions. David Duval, or really what happened to him, threatens authenticity by proving what happens when you abandon what makes you unique. McCumber is not a hater. He is a curator. He is holding the line. In a world that rewards shortcuts and spin and style over substance, McCumber is the guy saying no, not on my watch. His harshness is not a character flaw. It is a feature. It is the friction that keeps the game from sliding into chaos. Without people like McCumber, golf becomes just another sport where the rules are suggestions and the biggest brand wins. So the next time you hear someone call McCumber harsh or angry or a hater, remember this. He is not attacking people for fun. He is defending something bigger. He is defending the idea that when you walk into the rough alone, with only God watching, you play the ball as it lies. And if you do not, Mark McCumber is watching too, and he expects better. If you agree, hit the like button. Subscribe for more deep golf content. Comment below who you think McCumber is right about. And do not forget to use the hype feature one more time to spread this story, because these are the conversations golf needs.